Homework 6, speaking activity. Part 1, interactive. Topic art. Are you good at art? Do I consider myself good at art? To be completely honest, no, I don't consider myself good at art. First of all, I must say, in my opinion, art isn't an innate talent, but is more an ability that you develop, that it needs practice. Nowadays, some people think they aren't good at art because they weren't gifted to be good at art, but to be honest, it's because they don't practice it. In my case, I don't practice it that much, so that's why I don't consider myself good at art. But I have been in art classes. Yes. In the school, there's a class 2 hours a cycle, which you select. I select art, mostly because as I said before, it's more like ability you develop. So I started developing this skill in art class, but to be honest, I haven't improved that much. Due to the fact I wanted to improve my drawing skills, mostly, but in our class we use mostly canvas, and we use paint, and we do sculpture, so I wasn't so into it, so I wasn't so interested in that. But I took my decision, so I roll with it. But to be honest, I wanted to improve my drawing skill, but I didn't. The kind of art I like, as I just said, is more like not a professional or like contemporary art, abstract art, no. Like people who draw what they like, what they imagine, what they see. I like drawing because I think it's one of the simplest, but in a way more deep arts, in a way, because in my personal opinion, drawing let the drawer, in this case, to express himself in not such a complex way. So to be a good drawing, it must have really good technique, if that makes sense at all. So I like seeing street drawers. Sometimes I have bought some of their art pieces, and I like how they sometimes create new things in that drawings, and the drawings I like the most are black and white, the ones made with pencil, and even though you may think it's easier to erase to like destroy the drawing, the art, I think it's really interesting. I like it, so, and I think art is based on what you like, but most art is more what you like than what others like. So I think drawing is amazing in my personal opinion. Is art popular in my country? Well, that's a really interesting question, because to be honest, I can't tell, because even though there are many street works in the city I live in, Bogota, I think people lack of culture means art is not as important as in European cities, or even in the US, or even in Asia. Are, o sea, Asia, the importance of art isn't the same, you know. I'm not talking about only our country, but neighborhood country in general don't take that much attention into art. Um, I've been in art galleries, but sometimes I think it's boring. You know, I thought when I went there that I will feel the emotions of the author, of the artist in the pieces of art, but I didn't. So I'm more of drawings than on the contemporary art, or as I said before, the abstract art. And I think children could be benefit if they go to art galleries, because they could develop culture, which is a big problem nowadays, especially in millennials, which is our generation, because I don't think culture is one of the points people develop the most, and I think, to be honest, it's important to develop a culture in our society, but an art can be a path for it. Yeah. Part 2, monologue. So, describe a journey that didn't go as planned. Well, this brings me plenty of memories, but there's a recent one I want to talk about. It's funny now, but in that moment wasn't that funny, to be honest. That I was a little bit frightened. Okay, so I was with a couple of friends in a park, talking, wasting time, to be honest. And we had free time, so we didn't know what to do. We were bored, and in that moment, one of my friends suggested to go to a restaurant. I liked the idea, and I knew the park we were in. I proposed the park, and I knew some restaurants nearby. So I told them some of the options, and they liked the one of buffalo wings. Delicious wings, chicken wings restaurant. I like, and my friends apparently did. But I went there a couple of times, but I have not gone in some time, you know. So I guide them. We went walking, but after 10 minutes walking, I start frightened. I start being frightened because I thought we were lost. Due to the fact the place where buffalo wings were was now an empty building. So I start panicking. I told them I didn't know what was happening, and they told me like, why the hell did you did you guide us here if this is a empty building? I freak out, and I was oblivious of the situation. I didn't know buffalo wings moved to another building, and I was sad because we walked like 10 minutes and we were tired, and we we were lacking of money. We were short of money. So I didn't know what to do. So in that moment, I suggested to go to a different place. I told them I paid the taxi to went there because it was my fault, and I was a little bit sad of what happened. They told me I was imbecile or for what I done, what I done. So to gain some veracity, some credibility on my part, I told them of a good place we could go. So we went there. I paid the taxi because it was my fault, but at the end was a pretty funny experience. And if I could do something differently, I I would I I would told them we should go to walk and fuck off buffalo wings. Fuck you. No, to be honest, even though was a pretty scary situation, and even though at the end was my fault, it's a good story to tell now. And with my friends, we still talk about it, and it's funny all the times we talk about it. So nice. Part 3, interactive. What social problems are there in your country? So Colombia, for most of people worldwide, is known for drugs and Pablo Escobar. You know that is satire. They always say they are oblivious of the reality. Even though drugs is a problem in Colombia, even though Pablo Escobar was a real problem in the past, we should pass this out, you know. A real problem nowadays is corruption, as most of Latin American countries. The government members prefer to take the money for their own and destroy our economy. I'm kidding. But to be honest, if corruption wasn't that much of a problem, I think our economy would uplift rapidly, sharply, you know. It's a shame that the lack of values in most of our citizens, on most of our society here in Colombia and in Latin America, has been and will be a problem in all these countries, you know. What can be done to alleviate poverty? Well, Colombia has gradually uplift. Gradually uplift. We could say gradually uplift economy, even though it could be even higher, that percentage of increasing. So poverty is the poverty percentages are plummeting. So I think nowadays the main issue with poverty is the lack of opportunity for most of the poverty sector. So for this, I think I have always thought government should give microcredits for the poverty sector, the poor sector, the poor citizens of Colombia, because microcredits is giving a chance to them to develop not only themselves but also a Colombian economy, because even though most of people don't have the chance to get out of poverty, if Colombian government try harder in this topic, they may decrease these rates, even though they are gradually decreasing. To be honest, it could be done better. So that's my thoughts, to be honest. Are there many charities in your country? Well, to be honest, I'm completely oblivious in this topic. I'm really unaware of all the charities we have here, because I have always thought charities are a way for millionaires or for rich people to avoid taxes. So I haven't taken that much attention on it, because at the end I know what is the real purpose of these charities. I don't like it, to be honest, so that's why I'm a little bit oblivious in this topic. What is the difference between major crime and minor crime? Well, there is a legal point of view and a moral point of view. You could call a major crime to kill someone according to our constitution, but in a value way. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say. On values, mean on morality. Sometimes people say like killing, murdering a kid is worse than murdering an old man. And there is a debate on major and minor crimes, as I said before, in two different topics. So therefore, I don't think you should take your point of view in both topics, like in the morality one and in the legal one. If you want to be like a lawyer, you should pay more attention in the legal one. But if you are someone like me, that even though I believe in the Constitution, think that morality is the way for a more organized and a better society, well, you should take more attention in the morality of major and minor crimes. Do you think all crimes or all criminals should go to prison? Well, these questions are a little bit ambiguous, if that's a word, because, to be honest, in ambiguity, if that's a word, of this question, there's sometimes I don't get some things. Some criminals, because they are teenagers or kids, they can't, according to the Constitution, go to prison. According to Constitution, only 18 years or above citizens can go to prison, which in my personal opinion is bullshit, because let's be honest, if it's a criminal, it doesn't matter if it's a teenager or an old man. Okay, it doesn't matter. You don't have to discriminate for ages or something like that. In my opinion, all criminals should go to prison now, because, as I said before, minor crimes, immorality, some shouldn't be taken so seriously, in my own opinion. And to conclude this, what problem does overpopulation cause? Well, overpopulation in Colombia isn't a major problem in comparison to, or likewise, India and China, for example. Because in here, even though we are considered an overpopulated country, countries like China and India are extremely overpopulated, and it could be good and bad. And you may say overpopulation can be good. Yeah. Why? If you take the example of China and India, because of overpopulation, they have developed their economy. Even though some sectors of that countries are poor, they have developed their economy, so it can be good. But overpopulation, what causes is poverty, is violence, is worry in some cases. So I think having in mind these ideas, we must admit overpopulation problems may be more relatable with violence, poverty, and insecurity, but it can also be positive in some specific aspects and in some specific situations. So always see more than one point of view if you want to have a more clear and more valid answer, to be honest.